Good evening and welcome to Moonlight Whispers. Close your eyes. Let the warm breath of summer sweep over you. Listen as I unfold a story woven from moonlight, rustling leaves, and the quiet sighs of July. Tonight, we wander together into a dream. So settle in, let the noise fade, and let the story begin. A July's Night Dream. It was a warm July evening, and dusk had draped itself lazily across the countryside. The sun drifted on the horizon, a soft, burnished lantern melting into the lavender sky. Fireflies were already beginning their slow ballet, their tiny lanterns blinking against the deepening blue. A young woman stood barefoot on the cool porch of her grandmother's old house, cupping a glass of sweet peach tea between her palms. The boards beneath her feet still held the day's warmth. Beyond the railing, clusters of golden sunflowers nodded gently, like sleepy heads in the dusk. She'd come here to rest, to untangle her thoughts. City life had worn her thin, like a favorite t-shirt washed too many times. Here, though, on these quiet acres surrounded by whispering woods and crickets, she could almost feel herself mending. As the stars timidly pricked through the velvet sky, she walked out into the yard. The smell of sun-warmed wood and fresh-cut grass. A hush had settled over the world, like a lullaby. She wandered aimlessly, brushing her hands through the tall blades of grass. Every now and then, a firefly would drift close, its glow mirrored in her wide, wondering eyes. She soon found herself beyond the orchard, where tangled blackberry bushes parted just enough to reveal an old stone path. Her grandmother had once called it the Dreamer's Trail, and as a little girl, she'd been certain fairies gathered there to dance beneath the silver gaze of the moon. On a whim, she pushed through the tangle of vines, the stones cool and a little damp under her bare feet. The forest greeted her with hushed voices, owls whispering high among the branches, and, not far off, a fox breaking the stillness with a single, sharp bark. As if led by their gentle summons, she followed the path as it wound deeper into the woods until it brought her to a small clearing. There, a pond waited, calm and dark, cradling the pale shape of the moon. Drawn by something she couldn't quite name, she stepped closer and slowly knelt at the water's edge. Fireflies ringed the pond like tiny guardians, their glow pulsing in a gentle rhythm. A breath of wind touched the surface, sending ripples across the pond, breaking the moon into drifting shards of silver. Then, from somewhere deep within the stillness, as if awakened by the shifting silver, she heard it, a faint, delicate music, weaving itself through the hush. It sounded like wind chimes tangled with harp strings, soft and beckoning. Slowly, almost against her will, she turned her head toward the enchanted melody. And there, between two ancient oaks, stood a figure, tall and draped in silks that drifted around them like they had been spun from the moon itself. Their face was hidden behind a cascade of midnight hair, yet somehow she felt their gaze upon her, eyes that were kind, endless, and quietly knowing. "Come dream with us," the figure whispered. Their voice was not quite a voice, more like the hush of leaves, the sigh of the night. As if guided by something beyond her own will, she found herself standing, her feet already moving to follow them. They led her deeper into the woods, where the air shimmered strangely, heavy with the scent of jasmine and moss. The path curved on, drawing her forward until it opened into a clearing aglow with hundreds of lanterns, some drifting in the air, some perched onto twisted branches like tiny suns. Around them, beings of all kinds danced in slow, swirling patterns. Tall folk with luminous skin, small creatures with wings delicate as moths, and shadowy shapes that flickered like candle flames. No one spoke. The music she heard earlier filled the clearing, yet there were no instruments. It seemed to rise from the earth itself, from the stones and the trees. The figure who'd led her here took her hand. Their touch was cool, electric. Together they began to dance, moving in a circle, footfalls silent on the mossy floor. Time lost its shape. Minutes stretched into hours, or perhaps it was the other way around. The night deepened, grew bright with silver mist, and somewhere beyond the lantern light, an owl laughed, soft and distant, as though mocking the very idea of time. The sound faded into the silver mist, and then, with a gentle shiver, she was weightless. She rose above the clearing, lanterns swirling below her like drifting fireflies. The trees fell away, replaced by vast fields of stars. She floated, hands still entwined with her mysterious guides. "Do you see?" they whispered, close to her ear. "This is your dream, all of it, made by your quiet longings and secret hopes." She watched as galaxies awakened like luminous blossoms across the dark sky. Planets wandered past, adorned with icy rings and veils of sapphire mist. Comets swept through the abyss, leaving behind trails of molten gold. As she took in the wonders around her, her heart grew wide and tender, swelling with more love, more wonder, more gentle ache than she had ever thought possible. Warmth curled through her soul, and slowly, the starlit realms began to slip away, dissolving like mist at dawn. A breath later, or perhaps a century, she found herself again at the edge of the little pond, the moon above, calm and unchanged. The lanterns had vanished, the music faded into silence, and the starlight figures slipped away as if they'd only ever been a dream. Yet her hand still tingled where it had been held, and deep within her, a quiet joy blossomed, delicate as the petals of a night-blooming flower. Slowly, she wandered back along the old stone path. By the time she crossed the orchard, dawn had begun to stretch its pale fingers across the sky, painting it in fragile hues of peach and dove gray. She lingered on the porch, listening to the sleepy murmurs of birds in the hedgerows. A soft breeze drifted by, brushing her cheek like a gentle promise. Inside, the old clock ticked on, and soon enough, she would brew some coffee, maybe toast some bread and smear it with peach jam. But for now, she simply stood there, breathing in the quiet of the new day, her heart floating, gentle and free. And so ended her July's night dream. a gentle wander through realms of woven moonlight, fireflies, and quiet magic. May your own dreams be just as kind, glowing with hidden lanterns and tender hands that guide you softly into wonder. Thank you for joining me here under the moonlight. If your eyes are still open, I hope your heart feels a little quieter. And if you're already dreaming, may your rest be soft and your spirit be at ease. Until the next whisper, subscribe, and I'll be waiting for you beneath the moonlight. Sweet dreams.